All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. We've got some big news today.
We have some things to show.
We have our friend, Mr. Johnny Wunder from Callaway Golf.
How's it going?
He's gonna show us the new gear for next year.
Well, with much anticipation and many questions of when, today is the day that Apex, the new irons, are out to consumers. It's called Consumer Intro. So we have 3 different irons to look at today, and I have my friend Ian Frazier in the bay. Looking at them for the first time. So we have Apex Pro, which I'll discuss as we go, Apex CB, and Apex MB. This is probably as far as tour irons go, I'll say it like this. This is a tour-facing iron. Typically, in the past, we've made consumer-facing irons, and we've sort of jerry-rigged it for tour, which is kind of a fair way to say it. These are just for elite ball strikers. They're made for elite ball strikers, best player in the world, from the LPGA to the PGA to the Hall of Fame. Like, this is, you'll see it when you get your eyes on these irons. They are meticulously crafted, kind of like Oppenheimer film I saw last night, which is amazing. So I'm excited. I'm excited for Ian's an iron nerd. He loves a good iron, so I'm excited to see what you think. We'll go ahead and go through the tech specs as we proceed.
Maybe I'll have a new set of irons after today.
No.
No new He says his game bag set up, but
no new irons. No. Well, I'm excited to hit this though, boys. We've got 3 new irons. Obviously, I'm going to start with the Pro version, which is the largest, strongest lofted of the 3. J-Dub, talk us through this one specifically. I love the look, very, very clean.
Yeah.
What's new, what's different?
So I kind of say, like, the TCBs were a famous, really popular tour iron, even still to this day. I kind of call the Apex Pro TCB++. They have that a little bit less offset, and I'm not going to compare them to the Apex Pros of the past because they're completely different.
Really? Okay, so it's not a progression.
Yeah, this is a different deal. So a little bit less offset than previous versions. 3 through 5 are going to have 455 face cups. You're going to get the higher launch, but still good spin. So it's not that low launch, low spin, high launch, low spin story.
Yeah.
6 through A wedge, you're going to have basically 1025. They're going to spin. They're going to do everything a blade would do.
Yeah. So 1025, when we're talking face material.
Correct.
Softness.
Soft.
Give you all that feedback that you want. Which is some of the best blades in the world are made with 1025.
That's kind of like the mink coat of iron makeup. So that's what that set's going to do. So who is it for? Champions Tour, LPGA, long irons on PGA Tour. That's kind of who it was designed for.
Right.
Okay. With the feedback from that demo. Then we're going to go into the Apex CB, which is a one-piece forging 1025 soft. Based off of the TCB and a bunch of cavity backs from the past. You'll see it's a beautiful looking iron, reduced offset, thinner top line, slightly longer blade length than TCB. But we're going to talk about also the loft packages of these things. They're all kind of harmonized together. So the Apex Pro, for example, is only a degree stronger than CB and MB. Nice. So a 33 degree 7 iron as opposed to like a 31 or a 32.
Right.
The rest of the irons, CB and MB, very classic loft package. Right. So, up to a 46 degree pitching wedge, closer to like what you and I may have grown up with, a 48 degree pitching wedge.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll I'll go further in as you continue to hit balls, but a lot to unpack here, but I'm excited for you to hit them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the big thing. There's lots to unpackage, and that will come out, and there'll be lots of other outlets that will go deeper than us into the absolute specifics. And written form's the way to do that. What people are tuning in, they want to see us hit them.
Yeah.
They want to hear it. They want to see it. They want to look at the numbers. So let's dive on into that and see what is revealed with the test.
So what I want to see, if you can do this for me, is obviously optics, each iron, how they look from a dress, and then also pay attention into the sole, because they've done some things to the sole. They've added a little bit of bounce in the front and the back, so there's a little bit more leading edge relief. A little bit of relief on the back.
Yeah.
It's designed literally just to get through the turf faster. One of the things with our previous versions, especially in the MB, it was a little diggy.
Yeah.
So they fixed that without adding a huge sole. They were able to kind of like mimic that by doing a little grind, almost like a wedge.
So first one for me, obviously, being the Pro that I have in hand here, you've got a rolled leading edge, you've got higher bounce, and you've got a trail edge relief.
Yes.
Effectively narrowing the sole. So narrow sole, higher bounce roll. I mean, that is the epitome of design for turf interaction.
Yeah.
All of those boxes ticked.
Yeah.
Right, which is, I can see all of that going on there, which is gorgeous. And Guys, when we talk about forgiveness in irons, there's many, many different ways that an iron can produce forgiveness. And one of the least talked about is how the iron gets through the turf. If your iron cannot get through the turf, it cannot provide you with the launch speed and spin numbers that you want. Therefore, it is not forgiven. It could be the biggest, most sort of highest MOI iron in the line, but if it can't get through the turf, it's not forgiven. It doesn't matter what the numbers say off the face if it can't get through the turf. So that, for me, probably has become my number one place to look for forgiveness. Yeah. Then I'll look at face, across the face. But companies have gotten so good, J-Dub, at masking toe and heel strikes from a ball speed perspective. The spin consistency has gotten so good. I'm almost looking at it number one through the turf.
I think if you ask Jacob Davidson, who's one of our tour heads for sports marketing, turf interaction when it comes to tour irons is the most important. It's literally the governor of how you actually strike the ball.
Exactly.
So for most players, you might have an iron that you love. If the sole's wrong, the iron's going to be wrong for that player because it's going to dictate where on the face you're actually going to hit it, even if you do flush it.
And you won't hear that in a lot of places. People will want to tell you, but this is our most forgiving iron. Well, says who?
I know guys that hit blades with the right sole better than they'll hit
for sure
something super forgiving. The other thing I was going to say is that's got a progressive center of gravity package. So urethane microspheres inside the iron. So on the longer irons, it's going to be lower. Mid irons, mid. So it's you can do the math from there. High, mid, and then lower in the short irons.
Okay, well let's dive in. We've got 7 here, guys. We've got the green set at 175. Not just, as we said, 33 degrees on the 7 iron. Not just by any means. So 175, 7 iron is exactly what I'm expecting here.
A 9 iron for you, huh?
I wish.
Good one there.
Yeah, and quite interestingly, not jumpy in the slightest. I mean, that's actually slightly shorter than what I would expect, but let's look at the spin.
Yeah.
Why is it went shorter? Well, it's not because of ball speed. 121 is pretty good in ball speed, but it's 63.58 on spin. For an Apex Pro, I think as a hollow body product, people just expect those spin rates to be through the roof.
Right.
That's not the design with these guys.
No, they're not designed to be fast by any stretch. They're designed to spin, be fast enough, and be a little bit more forgiving heel to toe. That's literally it. So that's why I call it TCB++, because it's not like it's not a player's distance iron by any stretch.
Makes sense. It's a little bit thin, J-Dub.
Okay. I just want to check out. So some of the forgiveness you're going to see in a better player's iron is going to be on the thin strike. So like you see, you didn't get a huge dip in spin off of that thin shot. Ball speed still retained itself at 121. That's one thing I look out for is the thin shots because I hit it thin a lot. Thin and straight is kind of like my miss. So one of the things that they were focused on is the thin shot. Better players tend to hit it thin for a miss.
And that's one of the benefits, really, of going hollow body, isn't it? Because then you start to be able to play around a little bit with that sort of the geometry of that head and allow a little bit more sort of face flex. We've heard that from some other companies, J-Dub and Callaway, obviously trying to work into engineering that as well into this iron.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's you have to also pay attention to the fact that like when you do hit it thin, the ball will go up. Sometimes it'll go, if you add dynamic loft, you hit it thin and it goes up. They're actually still trying to figure out a way to kind of keep the ball down.
Well, it did, because if you look at that there, like I've caught that thin. Normally, you obviously get the gearing, so you catch the low strike, which that was a couple of millimeters lower. You normally get the downward tilt of the head, which lowers launch and increases spin as the ball rides up the face.
Right.
But there we actually lost some spin.
Right.
So it's actually offset the thin strike with a little bit of a spin reduction, which actually regulates the distance to be.
So you're not losing as much. Ultimately, it'll equal to like maybe two yards of carry or 3 yards of carry as opposed to 7 or 8 yards.
What if, like, you pull up those 2 carries? I actually think that one maybe carries 1 or 2 yards further on a worse strike. 1 yard. So a worse strike produced the same ball speed and 1 yard more on a worse strike.
Which for better players, that's the nuance. That's like nuanced stuff that you. And granted, it's one shot, right? But like that's the nuance that tour players will notice. Like, okay, hit that little skinny. How much am I losing?
I like that. I mean, it'll pass the eye test for just about everyone. Yeah. For those wondering what does it look like? What does it compare to? The closest that I can probably eyeball it to right now is probably P770. In terms of head shape, it looks very, very similar to a 770 to me. But it'll pass the eye test for everyone. Really, really clean.
That was out of the middle. Sounded like it anyway.
Probably just a little low in the heel again. Probably quite similar to the first one, J-Dub. And I'm getting all that feedback through the club. Like, I know where, that's giving me exactly, pinpoint, I know exactly where that is. That's a really neat feature on a head that has a lot of forgiveness to it.
Yeah.
Normally, it's all masked within that. Exactly the same spin as the last one.
That's
6
wild.
to 80.
Yeah. That's wild.
Pretty cool. Same ball speed, 121. Golf clubs are getting so good, man. Like, golf clubs are getting so good to the point where you actually have to question whether the monitor caught the shot.
Right.
That the numbers are that consistent. That's how good these products are getting now.
Yeah, they're just getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter.
When people wonder where performance is going to be extracted moving forward, this is it. This is the demonstration of it.
Well, for the stuff that we like, and I use the word nuance, like, we're going to find all the improvements for our games out of the nuance. Is the thin shot a little bit better? Is the heel strike
marginal
gains
gains.
A little bit better? Yeah, it's you're never going to get those big upticks in performance anymore. At that point, it's like the feel, the consistency. Am I, my good shots 8.5 out of 10 now versus 8 out of 10. It's you're kind of playing a little bit of a game, but little by little they get about 2 to 5% better every iteration.
Very cool. Okay, let me hit a couple more, but this is good stuff right here.
It's a cool iron.
Same spot. It's right in that same spot. It's
so good.
Shot 1, 3, and 4 are in the same spot.
Wild. But this is the iron. This will be your Rose Zhang iron, your Gino Fiddical iron, your Madeline Sagstrom iron. This will be on Champions Tour, your Retief Goosen most likely, and it'll be that type of player that puts this in play. Probably Lee Jansen, I would imagine, probably puts these in play out there.
Impressive.
The beauty thing with these fries is, other than, okay, we know your game enough where you can hear the strikes a little bit different, and you would call them a mishit, but they're all super tight.
The numbers,
like if we were playing right now, none of us would know that you've missed that whatsoever, and it's not putting you in trouble.
Definitely.
They sound so good.
Yeah, no, that was good.
And you'll see that. So this is the hollow body with the urethane microspheres, which is always a hard word for me to say. But once you get to CB and MB, you'll see that the sound's actually pretty dang close. And that's, the urethane microspheres is the same stuff they put in Paradigm irons.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah, I've heard that one now, through probably now, 3 iron launches now we've heard about urethane microspheres.
Yeah, Rogue ST Pro, Paradigm, these obviously. So it's just, it's their cheat code to making them sound and feel
They do sound good, don't they?
Yeah, they sound amazing. Yeah. They don't sound hollow at all.
Definitely. Mikey, can you pull up the compare page there and we can just look at across, I want to look at the standard, like that little cluster of shots is pretty wild. Go back to ball for me. So when we show all the shots we've just hit, and it's like that little, that's a towel.
Yeah.
Put out your bath towel and just land them down on the bath towel.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, there's a couple in there that maybe marginally thin, and your dispersion's that tight, it's pretty good.
If I'm working with a good player, one of the things I always look for, especially in foresight, just the way that screen is, if you're going to be hitting multiple shots, right? So I want all the shots to effectively have no spaces at the apex. So up in here, I want to see just a dense line. That means just the ball's just flying over the same airspace every single time. When you see space in there, you're getting just the inconsistencies in launch conditions, and I never want to see that. Go back to compare now, Mikey. Yeah, so 130 on the standard deviation on the iron, 121 ball speed, and it's a 169 carry. It's one of the most consistent tests I think we've ever done in the channel.
So look at it like this just to wrap it up on the Apex Pro. So it's at a 33° 7 iron. So it's at a TCB, a T100, all of your classic forged cavity back lofts.
One stronger. So they're all
33 to 34.
33, 34,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
So with that being said, at that loft package, you're getting just a little bit more help. That's literally all it is.
You really are.
It's that player that just wants a little bit extra.
Exactly. And if you feel like, oh, well, I kind of want to play one of those irons, but am I giving up a little bit too much? I'm intimidated by the package, the size of it. Go with this.
Go with that one,
Go with this.
That's why you're going to see a lot of guys like myself, for example. I'll go 4, 5, 6 in that one and 7 through 8 wedge in the other ones.
Beautiful.
Yep. All right, let's get on to the
CB.
To the CB. Apex Pro CB.
Wow.
I would say more input went into those than. We'll get to the MBs in a second. Obviously, there's the Matt McNeely story behind the MBs, but with the CBs, they went back in time, to look at classic forgings, Japanese forgings, and everything they could think of, and every little nuance that our tour staff wanted. Some of those ex-Forge players that weren't quite super jazzed on TCB, that didn't want to play a blade, we had a combination of the two. So they're like, how do we make a catch-all tour iron? That's what this is.
This feels to me like TCB and X-Forged had a baby that had the offset pressed out of it.
Right, but so the thing with X-Forged is X-Forged had very sharp edges to it. Like it had kind of a pinched toe.
And that's why, that's exactly, so and TCB is very, very rounded.
Right.
This has some lines on it, but it has quite a lot of curvature on it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of smoothed edges.
And the heel into the scoring lines on this iron, to me, is like perfect. I mean, they nailed that part.
Yeah.
So for your tour players, this is going to be our main tour iron, is this CB.
Nice. Right. You expect that to be the
without a shadow of a doubt. I mean,
over TCB,
Kim put it in the day one. We don't have a lot of conversion as of now because guys don't switch irons in the middle of the year. It's just not. I mean, you even saw that with Titleist, for example, their new irons. Their conversion isn't good because guys just don't switch. It's more like it's a soft release. Like you get it out there, get them familiar with it.
Get some feedback and work towards the
off-season. So by the time fall, winter comes around, the silly season comes, or whatever you want to call what this October season is. Guys are already ready, expected to see what they have, and they already have their questions packed, and they're ready to rock and roll. So like this will be, for example, if we have 30 tour players on our staff, 18 of them will be in that iron.
Wow. Definitely. It's definitely bigger than a T100, but way smaller than a T200, and just trying to kind of throw out some comparisons of some other companies. It's just the right blend of everything, J-Dub. It's the right amount of head size. It's the right amount of top line. It's got phenomenal looks to it. Offset, I was quite critical of X-Forged from an offset profile, and it was, like you said, very boxy, too square for me. And there's none of that in this. This is just a perfect cavity back player's iron.
Yeah, it's simple. It's simple, and the design features that would make it modern. Obviously that back weight in the back to get the center of gravity property is perfect every single time. Obviously from a building standpoint, it makes guys like Mike's job a lot easier. You can plug a weight in there instead of having to weight it out of the heel. But yeah, I mean, I think with modern technology, the more technology that you can pack in and make it look simple.
Yeah.
That's what they did there. So
this
is the most ambitious cavity back that they've created, the most researched, I'll say. And they're soft as all hell too.
So if we look at that one, that's kind of in that little low heel spot, and there's a bit of loss there. Look at the ball speed loss. We dropped to 116.
Yep.
Right, we kept our launch and spin, but you're not going to get the same protection on the miss that you got from the Pro. That's who uses the Pro, the player who needs that protection. I don't think that was much worse. It was a little bit heely, that one, but it wasn't much worse than those other ones. It was quite a nice flight.
Right.
But 5 miles an hour ball speed loss is the penalty. So that was a better strike, boys. Caught that a little bit closer to the middle. 123 balls. So
every box you could check off for a player's iron.
Yeah.
Like if we were on tour and I had Svensson hitting iron shots, and that's what the average was. Like he's excited.
He's happy.
Yeah.
No, that was nice. That was tons of stopping power. Peak height's good. Land angle's good. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, and you have a little wiggle room and spin. You have a couple hundred RPMs up or down to go. So
that was nice. Similar.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounded crispy. Go in.
Now let's see where this. Just curious to see where the numbers are.
Too much stopping power, Mikey.
Yeah, no kidding.
So look at the numbers though.
Ball speed's good.
Look at the spin though. This, like your spin.
Just tight.
Yeah, I mean it's.
120 feet in the air. That descent angle is steep. That is nice.
Yeah. Missed it.
Let's see where this one goes. Still got a lot out of it though.
Not bad, but
A little lower groove, that's all.
yeah. But like we talked about with the shot number 1 with this iron, that was a miss as well. Launch and spin are exactly where they were before. It's just a slight ball speed penalty. It's okay. Like
Yeah, and it's not like you're giving up 15 yards.
Yeah.
We're talking about 3 or 4 yards of carry
Definitely.
here. So
okay, so 2 more.
that sounded really good.
That was good.
Yeah.
You got to keep in mind for everybody that's watching this video too, this is like the performance of irons like this isn't about ball speed upticks.
No.
That's not what this is about at all. It's just these are precision tools, and you'll see the same thing in the MB. I mean, these are better players are looking for consistency.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. That's all they want. They're going to do the same thing over and over again.
I'll tell you one thing I will say about the first 2 irons I've hit. They make you feel like you're hitting it good.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the sound or what it is, or just looking up and seeing those spin numbers are good. Like, it's given me a lot of confidence. It makes me feel like I'm hitting it good. I don't know if I am or not.
Right.
Like, I don't have anything else to compare with. Not hit anything else today, but it gives you a lot of confidence
Yeah.
for sure.
Feel like a player up there.
I feel like I've just leveled up, J-Dub.
That was good.
It's just again, like somewhere in between.
Yeah.
It's Healy, which is where my miss has been for a few weeks, J-Dub, but that one was pretty good.
I can see a few combo sets coming out our doors with Apex Pro and Apex CB.
Without a doubt.
Soft enough to blend them and
Yeah. The combo, we'll get into the combo thing here in a little bit, but they're all designed and tooled to combo perfectly. That's why the loft packages are so close. And
It's a big part of design now, isn't it? Like making sure that they combo up like they're a family.
Yeah.
Like iron sets have to come out now and be part of a family. It's not
Yeah.
enough to be standalone.
see, I got 2 different. I got Rogue SD Pro and TCBs in my bag right
Yeah.
now. Like those are 2 completely different ideas.
Totally.
But
Totally.
that's what I got.
That's
so.
it. All right, boys. I've got my work cut out for me now.
Okay, Frazzy, Apex MB. So true players blade. As we discussed before we started filming, kind of harkens back to me like the old Mizuno blades, MP14, MP29, longer blade length, maybe with a little less offset than those irons had. We went to a longer blade length because that's more of the preferred modern day look for blades. The
Right.
Apex MB21 was more of like almost like a Ram Tour grind, pinch toe, short blade length.
Yeah.
Some players really like that. Typically the guys that turn it over like that because
Right.
it looks like the toe wants to flop over, it looks upright.
Right.
So they feel like they can beat it out to the right as hard as they want to, and the ball's still going to flip over. Where most of our blade players, like your Adams Fenson, Eric Van Rooyen, a lot of those guys, they just want to, they want to be able to curve it left to right if they want to, but they want to ultimately hit it straight. So this is a dead nuts in the middle, center of gravity. Maybe you could speak to this, a little bit too, with that MIM weight in the back. The whole thing's just built to hit it low, hit it high, curve it, spin it. So it's a classic, beautiful blade with a little bit of modern tech in it, obviously.
And that's what I want to test a little bit with this one is like the type of player who's looking at this one, they are looking at being able to do that. You're trying to be able to draw it, fade it, high, low, take ownership of the ball flight and sort of dictate what it does. I felt like certainly Apex Pro had, if you like high and straight, go with that.
Right.
If you like sort of a little bit more control, but you've got some more protection, go CB. And then if you just want all out, it is, what you see is what you get.
Right.
How you strike it is what you get. This is going to be certainly the one. And like you talked about with the sole, I mean, that's a precision instrument.
There's
isn't
4
it?
degrees of bounce on that 7 iron.
Yeah.
So, he's now on live, but Mickelson talks a lot about the difference between an MB and a cavity back iron. He's like, it's about softening the edges, where MBs have a very, very sharp edge. They turn hard, they do this, they do that, where a cavity back softens the edges, and the more forgiving it gets, the less edges you have in your ball flight. So that's about as responsive as an iron is going to be. Generally on
the average iron will have 13 grooves. On this iron, we have 12.
Yep.
What's the sort of reason for that?
To my knowledge, and I haven't asked the question yet, but to my knowledge, one of the things with the Apex 21s, they had spin grooves on them, and they had the wider grooves. They had 13 grooves. I think they actually spun a little bit too much. So I think the one less groove paired with a lower profile just kind of regulated the spin a little bit.
Very cool. All right, let's hit a few here, boys. Start off with a couple of neutral ones and see what we get, but I'm more interested in what this looks like once we start shaping them a little bit.
What do you think of the offset on those babies?
What offset?
So we're talking about, from a millimeter perspective on that 6 iron.
Yeah.
0.067.
Yeah.
In contrast to the CB that you hit was close to 1.
Okay.
And the Apex Pro was at 1.
Right.
These things sound amazing.
Yeah, they do.
Crispy.
So soft.
At 30 degrees for a 6 iron, 125 ball speed.
Yeah.
At 5,500 spin. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's.
Well, and I think as well, once we start playing with it, I think what we're going to see is the variability or the variance that we can input into the spin rates. So, like, I feel like I could kind of turn this one down and get it in the low 5s. I could tune it up and get a 65 if I really want to, get one landing super, super steep.
Yeah.
So one more neutral one. I left that little open, but that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Sounded like you hit it out of the middle.
Yeah, I felt like I hit it out the middle. I just kind of get stuck on it a little bit under it. Okay, let's kind of play around a little bit, guys. I'm interested in what this one does if you sort of play around a little bit with the ball flight on it. So let's play it down just a little bit.
Okay.
So that would be
your little trappy draw.
Yeah, just trying to kind of trap it, shape it, turn it back, take the spin down.
Yeah, see.
52, 53, hopefully.
Yeah, you got 128.
54, yeah. I love having ownership of that one.
But better players feel like back left flag when they're trying to chase one back there. That's the shot that they expect to see when they turn the face down and try to hit that shot, right?
Totally. Got that one a little bit heavier, boys. Didn't quite get all of it. But there's the spin. There's the extra.
Yep.
Right, 1100 in the spin. So this should be, to me, like 173 is what this one should fly. Like a nice floaty cut, a well-struck floaty cut should carry 173.
That was struck.
173.
Yeah, that's
Calling his numbers.
But that's what you get when you hit blades. That's what I always find when you hit a blade.
Yeah.
You should be able to, if you're a decent iron player, you should be able to call your numbers.
Right. Yeah.
I've always felt that.
5,700 spin. Yeah, so when you're talking to tour players about blades and MBs, RMB players, like ultimately turf interactions first and foremost. That's the the big one.
Right.
So we either have players that love that sole, or like the MB 2018 MB has a wider sole, a little more bounce. Those are the two that we have on tour that are in play consistently.
Yeah.
And after that, it's how much control do I feel like I have?
Totally.
Other than that, the rest of it doesn't matter because all the numbers kind of spit out to be the same.
Right.
Now, Fraz, this being a blade, do you still have that level of confidence that you did in the CB?
Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't say my confidence diminished over the CB. The one I had most confidence with was definitely Pro. Like I felt like I knew I could do some different strikes. I could stray into the heel a little bit when we get locked.
Right.
We saw that, didn't we? We saw the protection from that one. This one in the CB, to me, I haven't really felt much different with it. I feel okay with this. I really do.
Yeah, I feel like that for a better player, like for somebody like myself or Frazier or any, that and the MB and maybe 8 through pitching wedge would be like, that's about as far as I would go.
Right.
7-iron gets a little squirrely.
Yeah. Let's hit one more.
Good swing. That was money.
That would be my kind of 183.
Yeah.
180. Yeah, right to 183.
Those are great numbers, though. Just under 125, 5,200 spin.
That's good stuff. That really is good stuff. Gorgeous, gorgeous. The tour boys happy when you've just came back from your trip over the pond. You've spent Scottish Open week.
Yeah, I mean it's not really the season to be switching irons, but you know, a lot of guys coming on the truck checking them out, getting them built to take home. We've sent a lot of sets home.
Yeah.
I know Rom's got a set of CBs he's going to test. Xander does. Sam does. But I mean, the first thing that you want on a truck, with irons especially, is you want them to put them down or like see it all, standing on the wall and grab and go, what's this?
You want to draw them in.
So what we did is we put one of each. Yeah. Like on the Odyssey putting green thing we have there, so they'll go hit putts and they'll see something new and they'll put it down. All of them said, whoa, this is crazy. Like, this is amazing. So the curiosity, the creative curiosity is there.
Totally.
But as mentioned, like this isn't a performance story. It's a feel story. Yeah. It's the feedback story. Like you said, taking ownership, ultimate ownership over your strike is what these guys want.
Yeah.
So that's what they wanted to give these guys, is something they would love to look at that would give them the ultimate feedback, and they got it. So
very, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, we're obviously speaking to the lower handicap demographic for sure. Even the pros, I don't think we're stretching much beyond probably an 8 to 10 handicap from a performance perspective. Any more than that, your handicap would need to be skewed towards being a better iron player, and maybe you lose strokes on other parts of your game. But these are 3 players' irons. These are for the connoisseur who's really looking for the nuances that Callaway have engineered and designed into these 3 products. Definitely something to look at if you are looking to tighten up your numbers. If you find that you've got a little bit of a distance variance, if you tend to hit 6-iron 1 minute 185, and then the next minute it goes 195. You want to shrink that down to 188 to 184. That's what you're going to get with these. These are really precise irons. They're going to deliver really, really tight numbers and windows. So if that's what you need more of in your game, these are 3 definitely to try. So we'll get into it a little bit more. I'm keen to get some short irons and look at some longer irons. This is definitely just an initial test from us, and a huge thank you to Johnny and Callaway for giving us an early look. I mean, these are very, very early samples. You're not going to see much of this, and you'll be surprised probably even to see a video from us because it won't be out in other places. So big thank you to Callaway and the boys for trusting us with really the first video review of the new Apex line. So let us know what your thoughts are visually. I'm sure some pictures will be out on Instagram and kind of all over the web in the next few days on the usual forum sites. But let us know your thoughts. Is it something that's really piqued your interest? And is it something that you're going to try next time you're fitted? Stay tuned for more. We'll see you again soon.